In this video, I want to teach you 5 simple steps for solving dysfunction when going through the overhead squat. It can get very overwhelming when you're looking at feet, knees, hips, shoulders, head, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, what do I do? What we're gonna do in all the next videos for the overhead squat is now break all of these down using these 5 steps. Step number 1, and this is a must. If you don't understand your anatomy, I would highly recommend going out, getting a coloring book, anatomy book, getting used to learning as much as you can regarding anatomy, because step number 1 is you need to understand optimal joint movement. If you don't understand flexion, extension, basic anatomy in terms of what's causing these movements, it's gonna be very hard for you to solve a problem when you don't know where the problem is originating from. So step number 1 is understanding optimal joint movement. Once you understand the optimal joint movement, step 2 and 3, we're gonna be looking at the joint and movement causing the dysfunction. So for example, if we have a lumbopelvic hip, we understand that the joint responsible is going to be here. If we have a lot of excessive leaning because of the ankle restriction, we understand that the joint is going to be the ankle joint, and then we look at all the muscles responsible for that movement. So for example, if there's lack of dorsiflexion, what are the muscles required for dorsiflexion? Also, we're gonna be looking at the opposing joint movement. So again, looking at the ankle, if you have limited dorsiflexion, we're gonna be looking at what muscles are responsible for that, but also the opposing movement. So if you look at plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, you need to understand what muscles are responsible for plantar flexion, which muscles are responsible for dorsiflexion. What's gonna happen is once we identify the joint and the movement causing the dysfunction, these are the muscles that we want to release. Those are the muscles that we want to increase the mobility and the flexibility, because these are the ones that are commonly shortened and overactive. Now, it's not just enough to release those muscles. The opposing joint movements and the opposing muscles, these are the ones that are lengthened, and these are the ones that are underactive. And these are the ones when you put into your corrective protocol, you're gonna have corrective protocol step A, the release mobilization section, and correction part B, which is now the activation of the opposing muscle groups and integrating those into proper movements. So for all the next videos that we're gonna watch, we're gonna have 2 columns. We're gonna have a column that's in blue. This would be identifying the joint and the movements causing the dysfunction, all the muscles necessary for that. We'll have a column in red that's looking at the opposing. So every time you go through your overhead squat and you say, hey, you know what, arms are falling forward, that's a shoulder joint issue. What's responsible for flexion? What's responsible for elevation? This will make more sense in all the following videos and how to actually create our corrective protocol.